Hello, Moon to Moon. Welcome back. I have a really profound conversation with you for you today. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, frankly, since we recorded a few days ago. I'm currently speaking on Tuesday, the 26th, under the Cancer moon that's approaching Jupiter in Cancer in the middle of the night tonight here in the Americas. And so this will come out tomorrow, February 27th. So I invited two individuals who I spend a lot of time with. Patrick and B, who I'll introduce in a minute, are both in Emergence Astrology year 2. So they were clearly in Emergence Astrology year 1 with me last spring, when they were in the spring salon. They were both in the Magician's Table last spring. So they both are able to speak to some of the distinctions between these two spaces, as well as more largely the distinctions between two archetypes that I'm constantly referring to and inspired by in my work, the mystic and the magician. And I just want to pause for a minute to really speak to kind of the difference for me between these spaces. The Magician's Table it feels to me like a baby that I've been growing up, who is like this very precocious and exuberant, very popular offspring/offering that has been educating me in how it wants to be parented, stewarded these years. And one of the things that's been really necessary is that I really decenter myself. And one of the ways that I do that in the Magician's Table is I don't go to the cohort meetups. It's a circle, and it's a circle of 13, including the 13th reader. And my presence there is neither necessary nor helpful. So in the end, I give everything I've got to serving the Magician's Table all year round, to helping you find the door. But unless you go to some of the bonus things that I host, you really won't see me once you're in there. And that is actually part of what is magical about it. It's not that I don't think my presence matters. It's just that it's very much about you and your own participation, you discovering your own sovereignty, you self-anointing in the power of your magic, and you really understanding that your presence there is fated, and it doesn't have anything to do with like the teacher, the woman who made the thing, you know? Everything that you're getting from that experience, it's like it's set up so that you don't miss the punchline, like the takeaway that you are the magic. You are the magic. But the consequence of that for me is that a lot of individuals I don't actually get to know. I don't get to witness. It's a loss for me, but it's important that it's set up this way. Whereas in Emergence Astrology, in year 1, you do 9 months of hermitage, so we don't see each other. You're in your cave. I mean, you may be in some of my other spaces, like maybe you're in Living Emergence, my community space. So if you're there, I know you as a Living Emergence person. I get to know you there because Living Emergence is very intimate. I get to know everyone who comes to the spaces. But if you're in Emergence Astrology year 1 and you're currently in the Hermitage, I don't see you until we meet in the spring. And then I see you. Then we're meeting. You're also meeting with Mariola Rosario. So many people's favorite part of year 1 is hanging out with Mariola. I get it. I love hanging out with Mariola too. And then in year 2, I'm meeting with you every month. You're meeting with Jonathan Coe every month. You're meeting with Mariola every month. And, we have really deep conversations. We are with your chart. We're speaking astrology with each other in the way that I speak it, with deep intimacy and reverence. And so Patrick and B are magician stable alums, and they talk about that. And they're also Emergence Astrology participants, students, experiencers. And we spend a lot of time together. Like, I have logged a lot of hours with these two individuals, and we have a facility of dropping in deep that comes with being in space together a lot. Like, the two of them have logged even more hours together than with me, because they're also getting the hours they have together with the other instructors in Emergence Astrology. And I always like to talk about behind the scenes and like behind the curtain. So that may not be obvious. If you're just watching me from Moon to Moon as a Moon to Moon listener, you're watching me from Instagram, you may not realize that there are these different distinctions in terms of intimacy within the spaces. And all of my community spaces are very intimate, but I may not be as involved. Although the truth is, I'm just not as involved in the magician's table. I'm involved once we get going with holding the whole space with the 13th readers. And now this year also with Tegan. So I'm very much like holding the 13th readers as they're holding the cohorts, and I'm holding the larger thing. But that means I don't get to spend as much time in conversation in the intimacies of the cohort space. So, that's some like behind the scenes. So this conversation, we really got to touch upon some things that I think my subconscious works on, but I haven't really spent as much time consciously talking about, is like the mystic versus the magician in each of us. It's not like you have to choose. And if you don't like one of those words, you can sub in a word that feels more appropriate based on like what we're talking about. But to me, my mystical life is extremely important, and my magical life is extremely important, and they're deeply connected, but they're not the same. So what is that? That's where we go in this conversation. So listeners, I'm inviting you in, like, feel into it with us. Like, what would you contribute to this conversation? What would you like to talk about, to extend this, to expand this, to challenge it, to take it deeper, to go further? These are the kinds of conversations that happen in all of my community spaces, whether I'm in the room or not, because I attract people who are interested in thinking deeply, in feeling deeply, and enjoying that process, like enjoying the process of being humans who can think and feel deeply about things, and do it with other people that we regularly meet with for such kinds of conversations and experiences. So this is kind of a sneak peek into a lot of my different community spaces in terms of like the kinds of conversations that we have over here. Notice how nobody's trying to like solve the answer. Nobody's trying to like say it smarter than somebody else and like win for best answer. What we're doing is following the thread and enjoying the process and just kind of like peeling back new layers with one another. This conversation had like no structure. We went in, no notes. And we can do that because we spend a lot of time together, you know? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Really like how I've set up my life. Yeah. So if you're thinking about joining the Magician's Table and you're already in Emergence Astrology, or you're thinking you do want to be in Emergence Astrology and you're wondering about some of the differences in the spaces, these two speak a lot to that in this conversation. And you can hear about, you know, some of their takeaways on those types of things. And Patrick has even invited you to reach out to him in Instagram by DM if you have any questions. Patrick is wonderful. He is a regular in all of my spaces because he's also in Living Emergence. And yeah, I just really grateful to both B and Patrick for taking the time. Let me introduce them. Patrick Dommermuth. Patrick, propelled by love and sacred boredom. I love it, Patrick. Wants to talk with you. Through the flow of deep and playful conversation, he helps people reformulate their stories, thus galvanize their lives. He draws from astrology, tarot, poetry, psychology, religion, and spirituality, amongst many others, to create a rich tapestry of connection, breaking open new streams of healing and livelihood. The language we choose reverberates. Together we play, creating a reverie. As new language becomes spontaneous common stance happenings, we will be amazed at the new co-arisings in our lives. This is a practice, and practice is best facilitated through collaboration, through relationship. Patrick wants to talk to you, talk with you. Patrick wants to talk with you. Come and see. So then there's a link to book a Reverie with Patrick, as well as both of Patrick's social media accounts and Instagram. Let's connect. He's inviting you in, and he's included a quote from T.S. Eliot. We must be still and still moving into another intensity for a further union, a deeper communion. For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. Thank you so much, Patrick. And B Phillips. B is a mom of 3 and a blended family with her spouse. She is a CNA caretaker for her youngest and previously taught middle school math. B is developing a small business for offering self-empowering astrology that focuses on enlivening people's hopes and dreams. Thank you so much, B. Thank you so much, Patrick. I'm excited to share our conversation now. Welcome to Moon, Patrick Dommermuth and B. Phillips. Thanks for coming on, y'all. Patrick, I know you've been on Moon to Moon before. B, have you been on Moon to Moon?
No, I've not.
Okay.
Any podcast.
Welcome. I hope this feels very fun and exciting as a first one for you then today. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, I think Patrick, maybe you came, we talked about Emergence Astrology, maybe last June.
Yeah, it was trying to define the undefinable. What is emergence astrology? Was yeah.
Thanks for your help with that.
It's ongoing, of course. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, goodness. Well, let's orient listeners to how we know each other. Maybe share your name again, where you're calling from, maybe share some facts about your chart if you're comfortable with that. Anything that wants to be shared today. And then how we came to know each other, like maybe when I came into your world or when Emergence Astrology came into your world. I'll let you tell the story. Let's see, Patrick, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I first came into your world, Britain, through your podcast. The first one I remember was Promo Magic. Yeah, I didn't know how I felt about it. Like you always say, your medicine is malefic, right? I had a strong attraction and a strong aversion. Um, yeah, the attraction won out, of course. Um, Shortly after that, I joined your Emergence Astrology Year 1 program and then your Emergence Astrology Year 2 program. I did your Magician's Table last year. It was an amazing experience. I go by on Instagram. I have um, my page is called Third House Topics. I have a third house Pluto Moon conjunction in Scorpio, which demands quite a bit of attention. I'm a Virgo rising, so my chart ruler is Mercury, and I have a 10th house Gemini stellium. So there's quite a bit of Mercury happening there. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Let's see. I'm B. Phillips. I discovered you, Britten, on Instagram a couple years ago and was immediately drawn in. I had just started having some interest in astrology and had taken another little course from someone else. And so, let's see, I believe Emergence Astrology Year 1 was my first thing. And then Unshaming Your Chart really lit me up. And then Magician's Table last year was incredible. And then your book and a couple of your workbooks as well. I'm coming in from Denver and I'm just loving all of our across the continent sunlight coming through right now.
Yeah, end of daylight.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Oh
thanks.
yeah, I'm in Tampa. I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to invite you on since it's such a intimate, beautiful space that we have in Emergence Astrology, year 1 and year 2. And in that space, we talk a lot about the archetype of the mystic. No one's required to take it on. I remember Amanda sharing in a podcast from last June, like, am I in trouble if I don't actually resonate with with the mystic archetype? But we do invoke it. And then in the Magician's Table, we're openly invoking the magician archetype. So since you've experienced both these containers with me and we spent a lot of time together, I thought it would be a fun conversation to explore the magician versus the mystic versus the magician. How are they similar to you? How do they feel distinct? Maybe like what each of them asks of you, what they each invite you into. And yeah, I don't have an answer to this question that I'm probably going to like live by forever. It's more of an exploratory conversation where we can just kind of take turns and see where we go. Yeah, is anything alive for you today on the topic to share to get us going?
I had the image that I've got, and one of the images that I have, so the magician seems to be about the will, and the mystic is, I imagined like the mystic being this vast open space, like outer space, and then the magician is like one pointed, singular pointed comet, like flying through that space. It's like very one pointed, very directed, you know? And I imagine the mystic is about surrender and magnetism. And I imagine the magician as about, yeah, desire and exercising the will and more dynamism.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I just naturally feel like a mystic. That feels just, that's me sort of a thing. So the magician's table itself, especially, was a very powerful experience of taking my little airy, fiery mystic self and drawing it into practice and reality, and other people are witnessing you. um, so the image that I had today, considering these two things, I know it's not like anything new. I was picturing the heart and blood, the heart with as the magician, and the blood as the mystic, and how they're both so vital and don't really work without the other. And one, just the dynamics between the two are basically what makes them real in a way.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. I've been reflecting today about how intertwined they feel to me now, but I feel that maybe like you, B, I don't know that I felt that I could be magical until I had spent a lot of time on that kind of inner receptivity of my mystical nature to even know what I would want to like bring out of me into a field of people watching. Does that feel true for y'all?
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
I loved how much Emergence Astrology Year One was inviting me to that. But I would have to say my Gemini moon rising, my Aries sun stellium are all just like, dive in. Um, so that's why I appreciate your containers often, is it's providing a lot more structure than what I generally provide for myself.
But they're both always present. It's just that one seems to be sort of leading and the other seems to be behind, in each of the containers.
Oh, fascinating.
Mm.
Yeah, like one is more of a backdrop and the other was sort of like out in front, but they're both always present.
Yeah. I was feeling today into this idea of like the mystic as a part of me kind of listening for a revelation, and then the magician maybe being a part that um like speaks to be revealed, like through the acting, like something is revealed, the action, the participation, the diving in. There's like the stepping into space creates a reveal of some kind, which to me is very magical, of like the rabbit out of the hat or something, like there's a reveal because I acted, or because I showed up, because I put something into the world, where the mystical side feels more like there's like a revealing that comes through tuning inward and just and like receiving it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
but both play so well with one another. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious to hear more about your experiences in. Well, right now I'm fresh off thinking a lot about the Magician's Table after having been in the Hermitage for 9 months. I guess you met everyone in year one at the same time you were doing the Magician's Table. So, like tracking two different communities at the same time. Is that what your experience was?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
What was it like to be in both at the same time? Because the Spring Salon was also very like interactive in community building and with a lot of different meetups.
They bled together, but the Magician's Table is much more intensive. Um, Even outside of like thinking about Emergence Astrology year one and the 9 month Hermitage, and then the spring salons, those obviously were more intensive than the Hermitage in a way. But yeah, the Magician's Table was definitely like on steroids. It was like yeah, super intense, and it felt good. It almost felt like they fit together so well. Like that 9 month Hermitage was almost like the takeoff. You know, the what do you call it? Like I keep thinking landing strip, but it was like a takeoff strip. Yeah.
Yeah. Runway.
Yes. Thank you.
The Hermitage as runway,
Yeah, it was like a runway.
9 month runway.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Before the
just did the welcome video for Pisces season for the current year one students. So I was able to be like, guess what? In a month, you're gonna meet all your colleagues. Like,
Oh, that was so great. It was a great combination and not one that I really realized, oh, I'm going to combine Magician's Table with year one. All the intensity of Magician's Table almost made like it made the mysticism of year one. They just mirrored each other and like made each other shine so much more, like brought out each other as I got to experience both at the same time. It was an incredible balance.
wow.
Yeah.
There were a handful of y'all, I think, that all did that.
Mhm.
Did you have anyone in your cohort at Magician's Table who was also in Emergence Astrology, if you remember?
Okay. Nancy. Oh, sorry. No. Yes, I did.
Oh,
I can't remember, honestly. Everything's like so like
It,
mashed together. I don't think so. And
yes, it
honestly,
all
that it
does.
was only a year ago, but that feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
You know, I'm feeling like I want to pull back and try to define um, magic and mysticism.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and so I guess with the mysticism piece, um, I always come back to this line actually from of all places, the Book of Acts. In God we live and move and have our being. And so like this animate world where the origin is at the center of everything, like every single point in space and time itself is the center of creation. And so like mysticism to me is like that there's this attunement and this receptivity to this dynamic aliveness that is at the very is underneath everything. And then magic, again, I just keep coming back to this word will. Um, yeah, and something about magic too, though, is that you have to know what it is you want before you can really actually exercise your will fully. Because if there's any doubt in there, then that interferes with the act of the magic. It just sort of like dissipates it because there has to be like a concentration, right? Like magic itself is like concentrated.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things I've been reflecting on a lot lately is the role shame has in magic, with like, if we shame our desires, it makes it more difficult, I think, for us to feel co-creative in this like super fun way with our magic. And that one of the things that has really been speaking to me loudly lately, when I'm afraid of it, like when I'm afraid that maybe my will is bad, like what if my will is bad? That when my desires are generated from my heart, coming back to the heart theme, like it's not possible. So it seems like for me, I feel like if I can just stay in my heart, then whatever's coming through as the desire that I'm wanting to co-create into being with the environment, I can just trust it's made of love, and so I can just go bigger on it. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was just reading a little bit from John O'Donoghue's Anamkara and his, oh my gosh, amazing way around love and loneliness, even, and how, like, everyone has that great emptiness, and finding like loving yourself ends up being how you get to like love others. Um, it's Gosh, all of this is reminding me very much of like the Aries Libra polarity of the individual and the, what's the Libra little phrase, the I am, and I can't remember that one, but the transpersonal, others, and how much they mirror each other, and like as they mirror each other, I mean, all the polarities do that, but as a strong Aries person, the experience with the mirroring with Libra is so powerful. Of like, I didn't really know I was existing or doing things or what I, was until I look out and I'm mirrored by others and send out my love to others. Yeah, sorry that went a little rabbit trail.
It's beautiful.
So funny. I've been reading Eternal Echoes by John O'Donoghue. And it's actually, I wasn't putting this together, but you helped me like make this connection. In Eternal Echoes, he talks about yearning and belonging. And I feel like in this framework, the belonging is the mystic and the yearning is the magician. And
Yeah.
so belonging without yearning lacks vitality, and yearning without belonging is like this, just like this dazed, meaningless, like aimlessness.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's really powerful. And
Thank
I
you,
feel
John.
very, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, I just said thank you, John O'Donoghue.
I haven't read either of these.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. Um, yeah, I have a feeling too the Leo Aquarius there too, as well as the Aries Aquarius sextile that's so big right now. Like locating your own, like being led by your own yearning to participate and jump into life, and knowing how that act is participates in a larger constellation of beings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, and Leo Aquarius with the heart too, back to the heart, right? And now I'm thinking about the mystic as not only just space, but any sort of large body, like a large body of water, or with Aquarius, if we were to think about Aquarius with an affinity to the mystic, it would be like that oxidation process. Like a large body of, like an atmosphere itself is like a mystic body.
Mhm.
Yeah. It feels like I recently was meditating on rain with Arizona Smith, who's coming in as a 13th reader this year. And I asked her about her medicine, and she said, my medicine is rain. And it was like, say more. And she talked about just like this kind of this rain system that we have of, water moving between us and through us all the time, reconnecting us, cleansing. Found that so beautiful. But that does feel to me like it falls kind of in the mysticism zone. Does that feel true?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Then the magician is the thunderclouds or the river or, whatever forms the rain ends up going through.
Like the breaking into form of a tear coming from your eye or something.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah,
When I was thinking about, oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
no. I'm dying to hear what you're going to say.
Well, I was thinking about like on a very like a simple level. I was thinking about the magician as like air and fire, and I was thinking about the mystic as earth and water. And I'm thinking now about how both magician and mystic both purify, but they have different ways of purifying. And more specifically, in this instance, the way that water purifies, but then how the way that fire purifies.
Mm. Yeah, they definitely affect us differently. What tarot card would you say that mystic is?
The moon.
The moon.
Mm.
Kind of her.
Right. Mhm.
I was going to say hermit, but that would be the polar sign. Yeah.
Right. I'm still learning a lot about the tarot, so I kind of looked it up. Um, because I knew the magician card. Um, so like High Priestess was the one of the top ones that
Mhm.
came up, which
Mhm.
makes sense. When I drew a card just before this earlier today about this discussion, I got Mother of Cups, which I liked more for me as the mystic.
Mm.
Which like just I think I liked that it had even more connection to water. I often forget that aspect. Me saying that I'm such a mystic, it's actually I also forget that aspect of just the feelings part.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So I really like having the Mother of Cups as kind of being sort of that patron
Mhm.
of the mystic to me.
Yeah, water of water.
Mhm.
That feels good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd love to hear thoughts you have about learning about these aspects of yourself within community and like what role other people say have played in supporting you in knowing yourself as as a mystic and as a magician?
Mm.
There's a lot there, the community aspect. These containers have been my only real connection, besides a couple of like close friends, of exploring my mysticism with people and practicing magic with people. So it's been this, like having this kind of over a year long now, consistent opportunity to mix and mingle and experience others. And then I have a lot of like, I finally experience myself when I do it with others. um, so there's just been a lot of like emerging things that keep coming up of like, oh gosh, I didn't know that was there. I didn't know, I knew that. Um, but just by being around others and discussing and sharing, it's been a huge self-discovery in the end.
It's beautiful.
What I think of is how no one knows me better than I do, and yet I can't see myself clearly. Um, and especially coming back to fame, there are certain parts of me that were inconvenient to certain people, growing up. And so those parts I can't see as clearly. Like those are where the distortions are. These periods of my life where it wasn't safe to be all of myself. And I think that's one of many reasons why these sorts of containers are so important. Uh, Other people can see me. There are these parts of me that want to be seen and want to come out and want to express and want to be fully embodied. And without the support of other people who can see me clearly, it takes, without that support, if it happens at all, it just takes so much longer. Yeah.
How did you trust that the people in these containers can see you clearly?
That
Good question.
was a big leap. That was a big leap. Yeah. I have religious trauma, so these containers were kind of my first time in forever being spiritual with people and so forth. So yeah, that was um, quite a leap. But at every moment, even little toe dips and everything, I ended up feeling safe and learning more, seeing myself more. And yeah, how did I do it? I think just very Aries and Gemini out of curiosity, and I just tried it. And it worked out, thankfully.
That's such an interesting question. So, yeah, it's funny because there is no objective clarity. What I'm thinking about is this line from an Alice Walker novel called Temple of My Familiar. And one of the characters in the book says something to the effect that she describes love as meeting somebody and they give you a key to a door that you didn't even know existed inside of you. And I think that's what it is. Because it's not about objective clarity. I guess it's really that these, having other people who are earnest in making these self discoveries and taking these brave steps, it helps me see myself more clearly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's a brave thing,
Mhm.
especially if you have an experience of the world as not seeing you, or like people are reflecting something and you're like, that doesn't resonate.
Mhm.
I do have to say, the safety that I guess I trusted was going to be there when I just took my little leaps did come from the initial way that you showed your container and displayed it, for someone who's curious, and seeing how the invitation was very much show up as you are and let's see what happens, not just like, what are you going to share with us? Or just the expectation was so open. It provided such a great place for my curiosity to take me in.
Mm.
And it wasn't just like, with year one definitely provided for me, like, show up as you are and just learn what you learn. And like, I needed that very much, openness. And then with Magician's Table, it's definitely very clear that, like, you are going to be pushed and nudged and, like, you're being invited into something that's really big. Um, the magic of that, just the taking what I am and being able to share it with others. I love that. It was hard in ways. It was scary at first, but um, yeah, incredible experience.
As I was noticing my screen start to darken, I was thinking about this of like the mystic is like learning to see in the dark, and the magician is like lighting yourself on fire.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that feels true.
What is that? I can't remember how the line goes, but there's like this Viktor Frankl line where he talks about like lighting yourself on fire so that other people can see, something along those lines.
Mm.
I think I'm combining like three different quotes, which is a very Gemini thing to do.
I'm following the vibe and I get it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about that wonderful figure skater who just won the gold medal, Alyssa. And she talked about she likes pressure and she likes the pressure and like to find out what she can do. And she likes showing people what she can do, and it just like, I really resonate with that because at some level, I feel like pressure has always brought forth things out of me that I didn't know I had in me. And how else were they going to come out? Like the restraints of time and like the restraint of that, like Saturnian restraint, creates limits for like, it's going to be now, actually it's like here it is here. And then there it is, it just like blurts out like, I said that thing or that thing happened, or because it's on the calendar. Where like in the mystical archetype, I think time it's like a different time maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about that old Taoist adage of limitations create pathways. And then I really like actually this talking about like mystics time and magicians time. That's very provocative. I like that.
Yeah, that just came through with the Saturnian piece because when when I'm in my like mystic, I feel like I go into more of a Jupiterian or Neptunian place with time,
Mhm.
where it's like I can be in any time. like 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 clock time doesn't exist here, you know. Yeah, which is
So
very
much.
fun.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I always kind of credited my Mercury with I can just not time can just not be existing for me. And it takes effort, it takes seeking or something for me to utilize time and work with it.
Mm.
That was very much Magician's Table, was being like, we're going to take you out of that. And you're going to be in here now.
I was thinking about the magician as an intensification of time, and the mystic is the dissolution, the dissolving of time.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. It's also the word intimacy is coming in. I feel like both the magician and the mystic
Mhm.
facilitate intimacy, which is part of the pleasure, but it's like different forms of intimacy. And maybe it's that timepiece that is what feels intimate, just different forms of time.
Mm.
Mm.
But yeah, in the magician's table, there's a lot of time limits, um, time pressure, time. If people don't know, like people speak with timers in the meetup. Your readings have to be a certain amount of time or less. Um, Attendance is required. All of those things are very time based restraints that are actually what I think facilitates so much of the magic, is the kind of like, you can't argue with this. This is what it is. It's very bossy, which is so different than, y'all know, so many of my other spaces. It is so open. It is like so open. Like, you're an adult. I'm not going to tell you to come or not come. I don't care if your camera is on or off. I don't care if you talk or you don't talk. Like, it's like the opposite.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, even the 3-month
Hmm.
timeline,
Like, we
especially.
must be done before the solstice.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Mm. It
Yeah.
was very much an experience of expansion within container. Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the magician's table, it seems like that pressure is the perfect antidote to the imposter syndrome. I think so many people who are really grappling with that imposter syndrome and that feeling of not enoughness, so many people work through that because of the pressure and the crystallization of that magician's table. And then I was just thinking, like, pressure is a sort of tension. And I always think about like birthing the baby, right? The baby's stillborn without without that tension, without that pressure.
Mm.
Yeah.
That deeply resonates. Very much. It very much took my imposter syndrome and said, sweat.
We don't have time for this.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm.
Go.
Yep. Oh, it's so cool.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I guess the Hermitage plays with time in its own way. Um it's such an unusual Like, welcome. We're not meeting for 9 months. See you then.
Yeah, I think that helps. The hermitage helps you trust your own time, trust your own pace, and trust your own time.
Ah, yeah.
Mhm.
And everyone can do it differently. Like, nobody's monitoring this. It's all up to you, which is, of course, like the confrontation.
A different kind of pressure. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally different kind of pressure.
Yeah. Would you, I mean, yeah, if you knew somebody was like wanting to come into one of these big spaces, how would you differentiate? Like, this is for you if this, and that would be more for you if that. Of course, both can be true.
Mm. Yeah, it's
Well,
almost. Go ahead,
no, go
Patrick.
ahead.
Yeah. Um, Openness is the first thing that came to mind. What are you open to? What are you feeling open to? So, like with emergence astrology, are you feeling open to just experiencing yourself, trusting yourself, doing your pace, listening to yourself there? Like it's very much like it's open to your inner possibilities. And with Magician's Table, I mean, before I joined, I just had these waves sometimes of like, I feel so open to getting to experience magic with these people. And yeah, it's, for sure signing up because I signed up for Emergence Astrology like 9 months before. Feels weird because the meeting together started at the same time as TMT, but um, the at that time I just felt very much of like, yeah, I need to see where I'm going, what am I want, what do I want? um, and like the hermitage there allowed me to go move through and let go of all the school type expectations and the social expectations that typically can come with just classes or meeting. Um, and then experiencing the magic of others and the magic of myself. That was for sure what I was seeking next. And signing up for Magician's Table.
Hmm. Well, actually, I feel compelled to say this. Any of Britain, all of your offerings are so generous. Like, there is so much material in all of these offerings. So the Magician's Table, you know, you're giving readings every week, but there's so much material otherwise. It's just incredible. But anyways, back to the question. I feel like the Emergence Astrology Year 1 is more like developing the skill sets and like practice. And then the Magician's Table is like testing the technique, testing the skill sets, and honing the craft through that testing period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that feels true. I'm glad that it feels generous. Um, yeah. Anything that you wanted to name or bring into the space or question before we close on any of the topics at hand?
Well, I just want to say the magician, I like this card just like screamed at me. I would be very upset if I didn't bring them into this. The magician and the Knight of Wands. Like,
Mm.
yes, 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 yes. Um, I had this. I had my Toth deck, and I had the Knight of Wands as part of my reading, and my cat like took the Knight of Wands card. Like I couldn't find my Knight of Wands for like 7 months,
No.
and I looked everywhere. And I didn't see my cat do it, but it's like, how else? What else could have happened? And yeah, so anyways, the Knight of Wands just shows up in very interesting moments for me. And yeah, I realized that the magician is seems like the Knight of Wands has to be in that conversation.
Mm.
By the way, it's underneath the carpet, like in the middle. Like I don't know how it got underneath that carpet, but
Wow. That's magical.
Mm. Can you, Patrick, I'm not as familiar with Knight of Wands. Can you elaborate a little on the connection between the two?
well, so he's wearing like a salamander tunic, and this is the Rider Waite, of course, that I'm talking about. And his horse is like up on its hind legs and kicking up in the air. There's just so much like fiery energy in that card. Um, yeah,
Mm.
Razzmatazz, would you say?
that's a good word. Yeah, that's a good word for that. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's funny though, because like I mean, people have different opinions on this, but the King of Wands is the fighter of fire. But for some reason, to me, the Knight of Wands seems more the magician. And I think it's because of the movement. I think it's because the king is stationary and the knight is in movement.
Mm.
And actually, it's air of fire. So there's that, right? Like I was saying, in my opinion, like the magician is very air and very fire.
Mm-hmm. Anything you wanted to bring in, Dee, before we close?
I mean, I guess if there's anybody in the most recent year one who's considering the magician's table and doing the whole like, I don't know if I should juggle both or something, I'm here giving the plug to it's an incredible experience to do both or to have that happening together.
No regrets. It
No
wasn't
regret.
too much.
It wasn't. It for sure there were moments I thought it was, and it wasn't. It was worth it.
Actually, also, like, if there's anyone who's on the fence and they want someone to talk to about it, like, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. My Instagram link is in the show notes. Yeah, and I just like to talk to people about these kinds of things. So if anyone's on the fence or has any questions, I'm totally down to have a conversation.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much. So fun to talk with you. Talk about two of my favorite archetypes, mystic and magician. I feel like we got some really cool we came into some really cool ideas about it. And we'll continue to. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
always been thoughtful.
Really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. This has been a delight.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, B. And thank you, Patrick. Listeners, inviting you to connect to Patrick. He's invited you in to reach out in Instagram. All right. So you've been hearing everything about the magician's table. You've been following along the conversations. I've provided many conversations for you. You're listening in Instagram, I imagine, and my newsletter as well, where I'm creating different kinds of content to support you in understanding what this is. My job is to ring the bell for those meant to hear it. And so I ring and I ring and I ring it again. If you're listening to this, it's because you're circling the magician's table. You belong to it if you're circling. It is unseen by those who are not meant for it. The initiation is for you to come to a confrontation with that. And my role is to just hold the space until you come through. So the deadline to apply is Wednesday, March 4th. That's my birthday. Right now, as of Thursday, the 26th, there's about one cohort full. So that means there's still a lot of spots because that's a fraction of every cohort that's full. So many people are circling. Me and Tegan and the 13th readers are all hearing from so many people who are circling. And I understand the intelligence of waiting either until you have a sign inviting you to look for them. This is not a logical choice. Inviting you to look for the signs or inviting you to wait for the deadline. The only risk with the deadline is that you won't get a spot in the cohort you want or the tuition tier that you need will be full. Right now, it just turned out that everybody is selecting a different tier. So all the tiers have plenty of spots. Just come and claim the one you want. The sooner you claim this, the sooner your body can orient to this happening. Your calendar can organize around this happening. Your nervous system can organize around this happening. Everything can begin to constellate, and you will notice that the magical shifts and the expansion will begin to happen immediately. So, right now is the hardest contraction you will ever feel with this question mark about joining. The hardest initiation is coming to your yes, because once you're on the other side, as you learned about in the last episode, where the tower can also be soft, on the other side, you see that it's like the sweetest space. It is so sweet in there. It feels so good in there. It's so loving in there. You get a reading every week on top of everything else. So this is the hard part. I understand. Our role is to just hold it and keep talking about it to help you come through, to help you trust that you can do it, to trust that you will make space for it. You will have space for it. Everything will cohere around this yes in ways that will amaze you. I promise. Thank you. Remember that to apply, you have to be on the mailing list for TMT 2026. So you go to the course page linked in the show notes. You put your name on the list, then you get an email with the link to apply. You can study the questions, take your time, noodle with them, fill them out, pull cards to help you, and then get it submitted in a timely way so that you get what you want. That's what we're inviting you to claim. We're inviting you to claim what you want and give it to yourself. Thank you.